Hey everybody, today we're going to be discussing free slider, a fixed slider, or utilizing the Dreamweaver Action Stacker. Okay, all of these kind of have some roots from stacking two rods on a single downrigger cable, and that method really is not utilized Lake Michigan any longer. Okay, the benefit there was that it gave you the ability to basically fish two lines off one downrigger without having a whole array of downriggers across the back of your boat. Now with planer boards and divers and things like that, we've kind of gotten away from stacking downrigger lines. So let's get started with that first method. The first method is going to be the free slider, the easiest of the bunch. And I'll show you a picture here in just a second. Basically, it is a section of monofilament, generally 6 to 10 feet long, with a couple of snap swivels on either end. Okay, so this is the free slider. It consists of two snap swivels. These are the ball bearing swivels, and there's a piece of monofilament about 6 feet long tied directly to each of those. You could use fluorocarbon if that is something that you like better, but that's it. Very simple, very basic. A couple of ball bearing swivels and some monofilament. What you're going to do is attach one of those snap swivels to the spoon that you want to run. The other snap swivel is going to go to your line on your downrigger rod after you've set that line down to the depth that it is that you want. Okay, so let me show you how that's done. So I'm going to set my main or the bottom spoon behind the cannonball, in this case about 20 feet. Then I'm going to drop my ball down to whatever depth it is that I'm targeting. Okay. Stop wherever it is that I want my ball. I'm going to take the other end of that snap swivel. That's going to go to the main line, my downrigger rod. That's just going to swim down approximately 50% of whatever the depth of your downrigger ball is. So for example, if your ball is at 80 feet, it'll be approximately 40 feet. Okay. I know that's not a hard and fast rule, but that's a good approximation. So after that, all I do is take my top bait, throw it in the water, and there you have it. You got a free slider, you got two lures on one line. Now, one of the issues is that free slider, it's sliding on that snap swivel. Okay, there's no tension other than away from the main line. Okay, that if a fish hits that slider, it can swim up and down your line with no tension on it. So you got to keep that in mind. If you notice that a fish has hit that free slider, you got to grab that rod, release the main line, turn the reel until the bottom bait catches up with the snap swivel on your free slider. Then you'll have some tension on the line to fight the fish. Alright, next up is going to be the fixed slider. Now the fixed slider is just a variation of the free slider, and the difference is that I've added a small offshore release on that piece of monofilament between two snap swivels. Okay? What that accomplishes is that allows me to target the depth that I want. Okay? Whereas I mentioned before, with the free slider you're approximately getting the halfway point between the ball and the surface. This, you can set this to be 10 feet above the ball, 15 feet above the ball, 20, whatever you want. Okay, and that more accurately allows you to target certain depths. Maybe you want to run a steelhead spoon up high, but your cannonball is 150 feet down. Now it's going to cause some issues when the steelhead hits that top spoon, and all of a sudden you've got to crank in 150 feet of line or 130 feet of line in order to get that main bait to swim up and catch up with your slider. But that's just an example. It does allow you to target two different depths more accurately. Okay, so just like before, we attach that snap swivel to our bait that we're going to run. I'm going to set the ball down, say 20 feet in this example, attach my offshore release to the main line, and again that other snap swivel also to my main line, and then drop the cannonball however deep it is that I want those two baits to be running. Okay, so let me show you that. Alright, so for this example, I'm going to drop the cannonball down 20 feet and then attach my fixed slider. I just have the main line, the downrigger rod. Attach the snap swivel. Make sure that my slider stays attached. Okay, and I'm going to clip my offshore release, the main line, the downrigger rod. That goes in the water, and then I drop the cannonball to whatever depth it is that I'm targeting. There you have it, two lures, one at 60 feet, another one at 40 feet. This is the fixed slider. It consists of an offshore release. I think this is the number 14. Then you also have two snap swivels, one at either end of the monofilament that you're using for your slider. You'll note that I've attached or slid the mono through the plastic hole in the offshore release, not the metal grommet there, or rivet, whatever you want to call that, to eliminate some of the sharp edges that might be present with a metal grommet or attachment point there. Alright, next up is the Dreamweaver Action Stacker, and it's similar to the fixed slider in that it allows you to precisely place that second bait. Okay, and what they've done is they've taken a large snap, put what I'm essentially going to call a rubberized coating. I don't know the exact material, what it is, and then placed a slit in it to lock itself onto your downrigger line. Okay, and just like with the free slider and the fixed slider, the other end, I put a snap swivel attached to the bait that I want to run. Okay, so I've already attached my downrigger release to my main downrigger line. So I'm going to drop that down 20 feet, attach the Action Stacker, and then toss my bait in. And again, just like the fixed slider, it's going to allow you to precisely target those two different depths, whatever depths it is that you want, without having that bait able to swim freely up and down the line. Okay, this is the Dreamweaver Action Stacker version of the slider. It consists of action stacker and a single ball bearing swivel attached to the other end. Again, it's about a 6-foot piece amount of filament that attach the two together. Obviously the action stacker going to the main line of your downrigger rod and your bait on that ball bearing swivel. Making sure you pull on the action stacker to make sure that your downrigger line gets into that slit in the rubber. That's what's going to give it that traction to keep it from sliding up and down the line. So I've got my ball about 20 feet down. Now I have my action stacker connected to my downrigger line. Excuse me, to my downrigger rod line. And then I'm going to toss the bait in. There you have it. Two different baits at different depths that are going to stay precisely at those locations. It's a great way to get another bait into the water without having to sacrifice a rod. Keep in mind, I'm fishing Michigan waters right now. Michigan laws allow me to fish more than one bait per line. So that still counts only as one rod. You might want to check with your local laws, make sure that they don't limit you to the number of baits per fisherman instead of the number of rods per fisherman. So for example, some states that might qualify as two for one fisherman. So be sure to check that out. If there's any interest in showing the older method of stacking rods, we can do that very easily. I'm not necessarily showing that today because there isn't much use or interest in that technique anymore, but if somebody is really interested, we'd be more than happy to show you that, kind of show you where these techniques originated from. It's a very simple method, but like I said, it's pretty much gone away now that we have these other methods to get more lines into the water. I don't know anybody personally who's still stacking lines on a downrigger. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching, as always. Take care.